Hey everyone, happy Sunday. Thank you so much for joining me today and geeking out. I'm so excited. We are going to be creating a new EddieHub project and we're going to be integrating feature flags, which I've spent a bit of time on recently and I'm really enjoying it and really seeing the benefits. I can't wait to discuss. Thank you all so much for arriving early. I mean, we were chatting in the YouTube chat for the last 20 minutes. I know Rajneesh was like an hour ago. He was super early. The last 20 minutes it became really active and I really loved that. So thank you all so much. It's been great fun. So yeah, we were having some chats and we can see some projects already using feature flags, but using it with config or environment variables again, which is what I used to do. But now things are changing because I just think doing it as config and environment variables, then that is one way to abstract it, but you have to redeploy every time, make a code change, and if it's an environment variable, you still have to redeploy and reload the project. So using something like Flagsmith, which is an open source project, it just makes that so much easier. But we're going to get into that, and I think it's just such a great discussion. I really appreciate you all being there. So I really want to get into this. I'm so excited. So let me make my screen bigger and let's do this. So great to see more people joining. So that's awesome. So hey, Praduma, how you doing? Hey, Sentil. Hey, Roxana, how are things going? How's your project going? Praduma was writing a blog as well. Yeah, me too. We should maybe do a collab, Praduma, on Flagsmith. I think it'd be great to see, because I actually got an idea how I'm jumping ahead a bit in terms of stuff I want to do next week or the week after next, which is running Flagsmith offline for automated testing. So I obviously don't want to hammer their cloud. But let's start at the beginning. Let's get into it and let's explain kind of what we're going to do today. Yeah, let's explain what we're going to do. So we've got behind me the EddieHub org, and we're going to create a new project. And in the README, we can start putting some features about what the project's about. So I can explain it to you, get some ideas from you, and we can document it at the same time. So new EddieHub project. Okay, so we're going to call it Healthcheck. And it's going to be a health check for open source projects. So you can give it your GitHub URL and it's going to do some checks. You know how I do these reviews on live streams and I'm saying, oh, you should disable this. You're not using it. You should maybe have some more topics or less topics and these sorts of things. I thought it'd be great if we could put in a URL and then it just gives you like a report, like RAG. So red, amber, green. I don't know why it's red, red, amber, green. So like the worst, middle, and then green's fine. So I thought something like that. That's my idea. Let me know what you think of the rough idea so far, and then we can dig into some details. I see Bjorn, hopefully I pronounced the name correctly, saying you don't have to redeploy your most host. I think if you're using something like Vercel, then it keeps a running container or running build, and then swaps out the environment variables for the new ones and so on. So it does do a redeploy, but you don't see it if it's an environment variable. If it's in the config, then you have to do a pull request, create a release and deploy it out. But this is like instant, and the great thing is I can give it to somebody else to do. So I work with Sarah a lot on our projects, and I don't want to have to kind of make the change myself potentially. If it's like a tagline, which we're going to do, well, I can actually show you an example. So for example, in this project, I've got a tagline, right? In the creators project for EddieHub, I've got this tagline and one above. Say, for example, I've put something in as a placeholder. I don't think it's going to be the final one. And each time I want to make a change, I don't want to release and redeploy, but I could put that as a feature flag. It's not a feature flag in the traditional sense, which is, does it appear, does it not appear? It's actually the value of it. And that's the great thing that we can do. And I'll quickly show you now, actually, as we're on the topic, but you can do so many different things with feature flags that I didn't realize. And I'm not sure, I don't know if you knew this already, maybe you all did, and it's new to me, but for those of you who aren't aware, that feature flags are not just, is it on or is it off, which is what I thought, right? Are you logged in? Well, you get this extra button. Are you not logged in? You don't see it. Or our project's under a massive load. Let's remove some less important features that are quite intensive. That's what I thought it was for, really. But you can do so many things. So the project we're actually going to be using is Flagsmith, and it's an open source project. Let me share the GitHub link in the chat as well. And you can, there's more links in the description below as well. So this is a really awesome open source project. It's really popular. So you can run it yourself. You can contribute to it as well. But the main features of feature flags is not just feature flags. So you've got the feature flags, which I think is the most obvious one, which is it on or is it off? A/B testing. So does one user see it? Like 50% of users see something and 50% don't. And then you can see the stats, the results from that. I personally don't do a lot of A/B testing. I should get into that and see, especially with text, right? Imagine having two different texts on a button and seeing which one gets more conversion to click it. I think that'd be super interesting to see which text does better. Remote config, I see Bjorn is saying about secrets deployer swaps it out in the developed app. And deployed app. That's really interesting. Yeah, it does the same remote config. So it will swap it out as well on the deployed app, which is super interesting. So that's something that we can do on our project as well. So I think that's super cool. So even like your connection string to your database, like you don't, if you change that or you change username and password for your database, just have it as a remote config in something like Flagsmith. There are other alternatives as well, but I really like this one because, like I said, because it's open source and it's great to use. So yeah, feature flags on and off, the value of them. Also, I like the idea you can put JSON in the feature flags. So therefore, you can see if you're going to show like a list of features. So if we go to Reparator, for example, you've got features. This is another EddieHub project, but you've got features down the left or links down the left, I suppose. We could hide and show them for a logged in user or not logged in user or a different domain. You can have these variants that show for if someone logs in, like I don't know, with an EddieHub email, they get an extra button or an extra section like secure or something like that. But yeah, there's just so many things you can do. So we're going to start off easy. We're going to integrate. You're going to see how great it is. And then we're going to add to this later on with all your help and ideas. We will be doing this over 3 months. This is a project. It's not just for this live stream. It's actually going to be going forwards. So we're going to be improving this together. You can read more about it on the Flagsmith website in terms of a bit more about their features, with how granular you can go and other things that you can do. I think it's just super interesting. Like I said, I mentioned remote config, like even your kind of Google Analytics keys and things like that, which is just, yeah, super, super important. Oh, and one more important thing, which I'm looking forward to doing is decoupling. I'd love to hear all of your thoughts on this. Decoupling release from the deployment. So for me, we create a GitHub release, like a Git tag, and then we deploy it. But then those features are now deployed and they're released to the user. So it would be great to be able to deploy it and maybe only make it available to maintainers or something like that, a group of people, and then that way we can check that, effectively testing in production, but with confidence. We've obviously tested it before, but testing again with real production data before we make it available to everyone, which is just super awesome. So they've got these things called traits, user segments. There's just, so many great things. So we're gonna have some fun geeking out and coding. Any questions, let me know in the chat. I look forward to it. Oh, we've got some more questions. Cool. Okay. Roxana, let us know what you think as well, because I know you remind me, what language do you code in? I think you code in, is it Android? So Java, let me know. Excited for the project. Thank you so much for Praduma. Another EddieHub project. So excited about that. Yes, we've got some more live streams planned. We've got Debbie from Microsoft that's going to add automated testing to this project on Wednesday. And then we've got Amanda. We haven't scheduled a date yet, but probably next Sunday, which is going to be doing automated testing, but with the whole mocking out the authenticated users. We've got so many exciting things going on. So can't wait. So thanks for all being here. Okay, it's really great to see how other people work. So do share how you manage your projects, everyone. I do want to hear this. And there's scheduling as well. I like that. That's true. I forgot about scheduling. Thank you so much, Praduma. Praduma, you're a mod in the chat. Feel free to share your blog post on Flagsmith as well, so people can see different perspectives on how to use it. Awesome. Sounds good. Radnesh, look forward to looking at that later on. Okay, let's get coding. Let's get creating the repo first. So I think we call it Healthcheck, and this is going to be how can we explain it in like one sentence? So I want it to be so people can add their GitHub repo link, and it will give them a report. This is like kind of step one. There are other features I want. I want to also kind of list. A page to list people who have got projects that are friendly, because this is like a friendly report report on how friendly the open source project is. Maybe we'll private. No, we want that public. Maybe we'll start with that, and we'll see how it goes with the description. But yeah, I like the idea of maybe having a list, right? It's if someone's got a really friendly project, it's green, like full house green. Let's put them to the top. Let's get them more traffic and more stars and stuff. So this could be quite interesting. Okay, let me create the repository, and while we're doing that, let me check the chat. Excited, yeah, me too. It's gonna be so awesome. Scheduling, yeah, Bjorn, let me know how it goes. And it's something we can chat in EddieHub Discord afterwards as well. I'd be quite interested to see how you can integrate it, and if it's easy, if it's not easy. And don't forget, Flagsmith have their own Discord as well, so you can go in and chat with the maintainers, and the developers on the project straight away. So you can chat in their Discord as well. React Native and then React. Okay, cool. We've got overlap. React Native is similar to NextJS, and then if you're using React as well, then that's also very, very similar. I have so many blogs on Flagsmith. Praduma, you're making me look bad now. No, that's great to hear. I'm going to catch you up. I've got some more ideas coming as well. Yeah, decoupling releases from deployment. It's been around for a while, but I think we just got so used to having it coupled that decoupling it does sound good. And I have tried that, and I think it's great because, again, I can just verify with me and some of the maintainers and say, you know what, this is working in production. It's 100% bulletproof. Now let's change it in Flagsmith's control panels. I don't have to create a new control panel, and I'll show you the Flagsmith control panel shortly, and you can just enable it for everybody, and it's just done. So it is awesome. So we've got our repos. So I'm gonna clone this. Let me do that. So let me bring up a terminal. I'll make it a bit bigger, and we will open VS Code in a moment. So if we go to downloads, repos, EddieHub, here we go. And if we say git clone that repo, and it's called Healthcheck, and it already exists. Okay, I think I was having a bit of a play. So we will name it Healthcheck. I don't want to say live because it's going to be the actual project. So we can say 2, and I'll delete 1, and I'll rename this to without the 2 afterwards. How about that? Okay, let's clone it. So remember, we're in number 2. I get asked for a password because I'm using GPG key, SSH keys, and my SSH key has got a password. You've cloned an empty repo. That is fine, my friend. My friend Git. Oh no, wrong one. I see. I made a mistake already. 2. There we go. So we're here now, and it should be empty. That's fine. Oh no, we should have used NextJS to create the repo, actually. Yes, that's fine. So what we're going to do, Eddie, it wouldn't be a live stream if I got things perfect straight away. So I'm actually going to delete, not the repo on GitHub, we're going to keep that, but I'm actually going to delete the repo locally, because what we'll do is we will get NextJS to create the folder and the repo, and then we'll add it as a remote. So therefore we can connect it to the GitHub repo. So remember, again, it's the repo locally is decoupled from your repo on GitHub, and you don't have to clone to get a repo as well. So any questions about that, let me know. So what we're going to do, if we go, does anyone remember the create command? Here we go, create command. And we're going to do npx create next app latest. Name of our project, we will call it Healthcheck. I have to call it 2. I don't like that. Let me do it this way. I think I can do it this way. Actually, let me move the existing one, which I've got. I should have done this beforehand. And there's a health check as well. How many health checks have we got, Eddie? Let's have a look. Let me see. What have we got? You can see you got link free. You've got various link free ones as well from back in the day. Does anyone else have this, or is it just me? So where's H? Where's H for health check? I don't see health check there. Oh, there we do. Health check. So what we'll do is we'll rename that one, I think. So let's do that one. So let's move health check to health check. We'll just call it back. This is like the DevOps in me when you say back. So we'll do that, and then we'll actually create the one we were just going to create. So here we go. We'll create it. We'll call it health check. Here we go. And then I love TypeScript. I know you're all thinking, let's use TypeScript. I love TypeScript. Maybe. It's always a difficult decision, because I feel with TypeScript, we get less contributors to the project. So we need to have a think. I don't know. Let me check on the chat while you're all looking. And while you're there, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Really helps support. Let me see. What have we got in the chat? Just name it Healthcheck. Okay, so no one's commented in the chat. There is probably a little bit of delay on YouTube, but I want to say no to TypeScript. Don't shout at me. I know you're all shouting at me. Don't shout at me. And we will say yes to ESLint, and we're going to put a GitHub action on that as well. We will say yes to Tailwind. We will use the source directory, and we will definitely use the app router because it's just so much better. We won't create any aliases for now. Okay, I'm looking at the chat. Oh, just for the docs. Look like it's not an option for me after all. API calls are expensive. Okay, interesting. I think you get quite a few API calls. I think their free tier is quite big. I know it does a lot of caching locally as well, but it's something again we can chat in Discord afterwards. I'm getting asked for my password because of my GPG keys because it's making a commit, which I go into now to Healthcheck. If we do git log, you can see it's just on the commit for us. The NextJS create command, but it needed my key to sign it, so that's why I got asked for a password. Right, let's connect the repo first, and then we can push it up. So what I need to do is I need to copy this again as I did before, but Git won't have any remotes. So if I do git remote v, which is like kind of verbose, there's nothing. So we want to add git remote add origin. And then the URL. And this is what, when you clone a repo on GitHub, this is what actually happens for you. So now if I do git remote -v, you will see two have been added for fetch and push. And fetch and pull are very similar. Pull will do a fetch and then a merge, but effectively does a fetch first. So for fetching and pushing, it will go to the repo URL. And when you clone the repo directly, if I did just clone this, it would add this automatically because you've cloned it. It knows where you want to kind of push and pull from. So, but now, because I created the project with Next.js, I had to add it manually. So that's fine. So it's as if I'd cloned it. So we could actually do a push, right? We could do git push main. And then if I do that, you'll see that first commit on GitHub. So we can just check it's all working. So it's done that. If I refresh the repo page, and I can share it in the chat as well for you. Let me see. Share it in the chat. Talking about performance, not the money. Interesting. Okay, that's but performance, it does cache it locally. So you do have the information locally, and then it updates it when it needs to as well. But I'm interested to hear more about that. So yeah, do let me know your thoughts, like now in the chat or in Discord afterwards. Could be a good discussion. Roxana, TypeScript. Oh, I love TypeScript. I know, it reminds me of my Java days. Let's see. Maybe we'll convert it later on. Let's see. We'll get going for today. So we've got this. Let me do the next thing that I do is I open VS Code. I don't know about you, but I know I open this next. So we'll bring this here. We've got our project. And then the first thing that I do is I kind of delete out all the generated code. I don't know what about yourselves. What do you do? I'm going to, first of all, go into here. And I'm going to go delete this code, this generated code. Oh, actually, no, we should start. Oh, didn't mean to open the dictionary. We should actually start the project first. I do recommend this. So let's have a look. Can I move this over? Or I can keep it separate. If I do npm run dev, we don't need to do an npm CI or npm install because we use the Next.js create app and it does that for us automatically. And so what we can do here is if we open localhost 3000, you'll see the vanilla Next.js app. There we go. So we want to delete a lot of that code so we can build our own. So let's have a look. So here I want to remove this generated code. And so we just get that, hit save. And then to layout, I mean, that's okay. We're going to need that shortly, so I'll leave that open. And then in page, I'm probably going to delete everything inside main for now. We don't need any of this. I mean, we can even type H1 and just say Healthcheck and hit save. So now if we go back to it, it should automatically reload and you can see it says Healthcheck on the page and it's localhost 3000. So I think we should commit that because it's kind of like a bit of a clean state. Let me see, the import image isn't needed here, so I can actually delete that. Let's clean it up a little bit more. What else can we do? Public. We don't need Next.js and Vercel. We do want to keep public because we will have some of our stuff in there, I suppose. So let me just delete that for now so we don't forget. We don't need those logos. I don't think it breaks the website. It still looks good. So we're all good on that side. The favicon is, we probably want to delete that as well. I don't think we need that. That is not not for our project. I think we're good. What do you all think? Let me see in the chat if we're all on the same page. Start. Thank you so much for doing it. Did you start it before me? Let me see. Does it start automatically? I can't remember. Let me see. If I refresh. Yes, 2. Okay, I got to star it as well. Okay, I'm the third one. Damn it, Eddie. Shh, if anyone asks, I was the first. Okay. Let's see. Maybe I'll add one, but it looks the API calls are cached. But if one is done in the foreground, adding the experience loading times, it might take 50 milliseconds or so. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. Maybe run some tests and let us know. Let us know what you think. Okay, so now we've got this going. I think we should do another commit. So I think I'll open another terminal. Let me move this over here, and then we'll open another terminal over here and bring this over there. There we go, and then we can do a git status -s, and these are the changes we've made. So I'm going to say git commit, and I am going to say feature or fix. This is pretty more of a fix. Removed generated code. Right, it didn't ask for a password that time because it kind of caches my password in that terminal temporarily. So I did a git status and all is good. So go back to VS Code, you will see that nothing is pending commits. So we're good. So we've got to that stage. Well, what should we do next? Well, I do want to automate like the linting because we do have package.json, we do have a lint here, but I'm quite keen to get into Flagsmith so we can maybe do this later on. So let's get into it. So the first thing we need to do is go to the Flagsmith website. And you can log in, and it's free to log in. So I'm going to sign in. You can log in with your GitHub. I've used a username and password, but you can, various single sign-ons. So if I hit login, and here you kind of come to your organization. So you can create different organizations, which I think is pretty awesome. So I've got an EddieHub one that I created earlier. Again, it's free to do that. And then you create your projects under that organization so you can group them together. So this one we will call Healthcheck. So create that. Here we go. So we've created the project. Let me make that a bit bigger for you. And don't know why that went small again. That's my Safari. It does that sometimes. You see it on my GitHub review, on my project review streams. It does that as well. Okay. So let me have a look if there's any questions about what we've done so far. Yeah, it's great that you can select Tailwind. I think that's just so cool. It's just set up, it's done, and then you can go to the Tailwind website and just start grabbing components, which we'll do in a moment as well. So how's everyone doing? But everyone following along? We have got a blog post and a link below with the way we're doing this. So if anyone has recently joined and is not sure kind of how we got to where we are, you can look at the blog post. Link is in the description below. Will it help if I share it again? Let me know. Oh, I can just drop it in the chat for you now. Here you go. So there's the chat if you want to follow along. So next thing we want to do, although I did just see a comment from Braduma. Yeah, the dashboard is just so good. So I can add Sarah to this dashboard. I don't even have to give her my credentials and she can come and change things. But let me show you what I mean by change things. So let's create a feature flag. So I think we should have a strap line on here. And I think we should have that managed by Flagsmith. The reason for that is if we want to, if the marketing team or another team or someone else wants to change it, we don't have to redeploy every time. We don't have to get a developer involved. They can just change it. They can change it daily if they want to do. They can change it as often as they want. So I think that's what we should do first, and then maybe some welcome message as well. So let's create a feature flag. So I think we should say tagline. Because the name of the project is not going to change, but we need tagline. I think it should be enabled by default because for all environments, we will have development and production. You can add more environments. So therefore, you can test it in development and then test it in production. And then the value should be, maybe we get it from the repo. Let's have a look. Report on how friendly the open source project is. Or maybe it could be something like this. How friendly is your open source project? Question mark. That could be the strap line. So we can do that, and we can add tags. So it's a great way for us to group them together when we get a lot more tags. But I will do that later on when I get a better understanding. And I will just say project tagline as a description. It's not going to be server side only, so we're going to use that for client side as well. And like I said, it's enabled. And when we hit create, you'll see here it says for all environments. And I think by default, it is development and production. So let's create that. And you can use JSON, TOML, and YAML in this value as well. So if you do have some JSON, kind of like an array of features to display for logged in users, then you could do that. And we'll do that in a future live stream. I think that's just an excellent one to show. It's like a real life project. You would use that. That would make more sense. It's not always text. It's not always Boolean on and off and so forth. So let me create that flag. So now we've created the flag. We can change this value, but we're not going to change it yet. Let's get it displaying in our app, and then we can change it to show it's working. I think one thing to remember is you cannot change the name of the flag once you've created that. So you can change the description, where here it says project tagline. You can change the value of it, which is here, and all the rest, but not the name. And I really like it how you've got the logs when things change. So if I add Sarah and other maintainers to this dashboard, and people are toggling things on and off, I love it how in the logs, we can see what's been changed by who and when and all the rest. So that's pretty awesome. And you can see here we're in development, we've got production, and we can create some more. So we'll just stick with development for now. And they've got instructions here on what you need to do as well to set up the project, initialize it, and so forth. And their documentation is great for if you're using, I don't know, React, or using server-side rendering of NextJS, or you're using other stuff. The documentation is really good. I can actually just bring it up for you now to show you. They do have, obviously have the getting started guide and how to manage features and so forth. But they do have lots of SDKs. So, Flutter as well. So lots of popular ones there. And it is an API at the end of the day. So you can also, do something yourself if you really want to. Right, let me bring this over here. So hopefully by memory, I won't need documentation, but let's see. With your help, I think we can make this work. Is everyone following along so far? Hey, Tom, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Tom, are you in Thailand at the moment? You travel more than me. So yes, okay, so we've got that's done. Now let's add it to our project. So what we need to do is add a provider. Actually, we need to install it first. So let's do that. So if we come here, we need to do npm install. I think it just was called Flagsmith. I will check. Installing the SDK. And you've got yarn and other stuff that you can use as well, or if you want to add it into a script tag as well in the HTML. Okay, so I'm just going to copy and paste that. And I'll cancel what I just wrote and just put paste. Okay, here we go. So we're installing the npm dependency. So we've got that. And then next up, what we need to do is create a provider. And what a provider does in Next.js is it allows you to manage state and do some awesome things with that. So I think for this, we'll put it in the root of the app directory. So we'll create a file and I'm going to call it plural providers, because you might have more in the future. And you can do it directly in the layout. You can wrap it here, but then as you get more and stacked, it gets nested quite deep. So I do like to make sure that I kind of abstract that out. And rather than that later, I'm going to do it now. So to do a provider, it needs to have use client for our provider. And we will import the Flagsmith provider, because we'll need to use that Flagsmith provider. Has my IDE not picked it up that we got it as a dependency? Let's have a look. Might take a moment. Flagsmith from React. Hit save. Okay. And then we'll also want to be able to create an instance of Flagsmith. So let's do create Flagsmith instance. Yes, auto-completed. Okay. But we want not just a standard instance. Or did I hit enter? Yes, I did. We want the isomorphic one because we're using Next.js and server-side rendering. And we should probably use ref as well from React. There we go. Okay, so now we can get into our provider. So again, it's just like a component. It is pretty awesome how everything is just a component. So it's a function and it's kind of, auto-completing for us. It's not quite right because we want server state and children. That looks good so far. And then we will want to create the instance. So if we go Flagsmith, it's auto-completing for us. Use ref, that looks good. Create Flagsmith instance. And there we go, that looks good. And then we'll want to return Who uses like AI pair programming is pretty good. I'm trying to have a look now. Flagsmith provider, that looks good. Then Flagsmith is Flagsmith current. Well, that's not quite right because that should be Flagsmith. Oh yes, it's correct. No, I want to call it instance, so be a bit more descriptive. I don't know what you think. Maybe it's a Java in me. I want to kind of make things a bit longer. And server-side state is from their provider, and then this is what is coming in as a prop. But we do need to add children to this. So it got autocomplete, or the AI complete did get a bit excited. There we go. We do need that. So let's save that. I think that looks pretty good. What do you all think? It's a small provider, and then we can add some more later on if we need to. Let me see in the chat. Everyone's still following along, I think. So no questions in the chat. That's good. Or if anyone wants to elaborate more on the provider or anything like that in terms of the React and useref, then I can't go into every detail. And I'm also learning. I'm probably not the best person to explain useref. I use it, but I don't understand it 100% to explain it very well. Maybe I should get better at that. But my point is, if anyone wants to kind of elaborate on that, feel free. I welcome your thoughts and your comments, and it helps other people in the chat. Just because they're not asking the question doesn't mean they're not sure what some of this means. But as we've been going for half an hour already, I want to kind of get this working, and then we start customizing it all together. So next up in the layout, we need to add our provider. So these are all wrong. We need to change these, but we can change those later. So what I suggest we do is we add the provider, but we do need to initialize Flagsmith here as well. So let's do an import. So I like to have like the third-party imports higher up. So we do import. Let's do create Flagsmith instance from Flagsmith, and again here we'll do isomorphic. And then we'll want to import the provider. But I think it's quite clever. If we start typing it, it should automatically import it for us. I'm going to wrap the body, and I'm going to go providers. There we go. Okay, it's auto-completed for us. Nice. But we need to create a few more variables first, because we will want to send through the server state, because that was a prop that we created, and we'll want to pass it a new variable, which we haven't created yet, but we will in a minute. Server state. So therefore we've got this, and obviously that doesn't exist yet, so we need to create it. So what we're going to do is we're going to connect now to Flagsmith. Okay, we don't need this. So what I'm going to do is hit escape on the AI generated content, and we're going to go const, and we're going to do Flagsmith, and we're going to create an instance of Flagsmith. I'm going to type that out because it's not quite what we want. Actually, no, I'll complete it. Let's complete it. Let's have a look, because if I do this, we will want to use the environment ID, which they will give us the value. So you've got environment ID. And again, we can hard code it in here for this. I won't commit it because it really should go in an environment variable. And actually, you know what? Let's just do it straight in an environment variable. So if we go process, otherwise I might commit it by mistake. Who's done that before? Like, put your hand up if you've committed something by mistake. I mean, this isn't private, so it's fine. But so we'll go next, and then we'll call it public, and then we'll need to create it. There you go, Flagsmith environment ID. I think that looks pretty good. Thank you very much. Oh, got an extra bracket in there from AI. So what we will do, we'll create that in a minute. And then the next thing we want to do is we want to say const, and we want to go server state. So we need to create this variable because we used it below in the provider. And then we're going to go flagsmith.getState. Here we go. And you know what? I'm going to put a console log of the state so we can currently see what we've got. So if we do a console log and we do server state, right, hit save. Okay, no red errors just yet. We obviously need to add this. So I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to create a new file. I'm going to say en.env example. That's going to be, I want to commit that. So that's good. And it's going to, I want to leave it empty so people can put their own ones in there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste that, and then just do env. And if you notice, it'll be, if I click off it, it'll be gray because it won't get committed, and it's got the environment variable here that I need. Let me look at the chat and see what people, Produma says 100%. Hopefully it's 100% that I'm on the right track. Hey, Ezil, hopefully I pronounced it right. How you doing? Welcome. How's everyone following along? Someone asked, Roxana. I'm glad you asked. Actually, I am using, I thought I was using GitLab, but I just noticed it says it's disabled. Oh, for this language, for this file, for env file. So no, I am using, so if I go back to here, I am using GitLab's Duo. I'm not using GitHub's Copilot. So yes, what does everyone else use? Let me know in the chat. I'm quite curious. And when I get this environment variable. Web dev looks so scary, so many components. I think DevOps looks scary, which is quite funny, but I think it's what you get used to, and it's just separating things out. And we're going to make a few more components shortly as well. Thanks for sharing, Pradyumna. It's interesting to hear that. So let me go back to Flagsmith, and we can get it. Actually, if you go initialize your project, you actually get it from here because it gives you the example code here straight away. And you can also get it from SDK keys, I think. There we go. That's it there as well. So, and like I said, it's not private, so it's not a problem for me to share it. So I'm going to put this in here. There we go, and hit save. Okay, so that's saved. And so now that will actually get it from that environment file. So therefore, we don't commit.env, but example we will. But example, like I said, we haven't actually put it in example. Okay, so now I think we need to restart the app because we've changed. I was going to say we changed environment variables and all the rest, but it looks like some of it has started coming through already, and we did an npm dependency. I always like to restart the app to make sure there's no surprises. So now we've restarted it, and if we go to the app and refresh it, let's have a look. What have we got? Let's see. We have no flags. What did I do wrong? What did I miss? Did I miss something? Did I spell it correctly? I added it to env, so it should be getting my project. See, it's definitely a live stream. Things, go wrong. I think that's correct. No space in it or anything. I'm gonna copy it from there and just double check because we do have one flag. It is enabled. It is for all environments. So if I go to production now, you should see it with the same value. I could change it though. So I could just write prod at the end. And then if I update that, we won't see prod. And then in development, I could write dev. And when this does come through, when we fix my bug, we will see it work as well. So therefore, it's in both environments, but they can have different values is what I wanted to show. Right, let me get back to try and fixing this. So just in case that's got a space in it or something, I'm going to hit save. Okay, I can close that. That should be coming through now. I think that should be okay. What did I do wrong? I called it environment. Use a lot of AI autocomplete, and I find sometimes there's a little hidden bug somewhere that you miss. So I might have to have a double check and see if anyone has seen it. Oh, environment ID says it's empty. So that's probably my mistake there. I bet you're all shouting at the screen. Yeah, it is pretty cool. I like the chat and the refactor and all the rest that it has is super cool. I actually put a video out on it last week or the week before last. Do check it out where I'm playing all the different features and seeing how it works and so forth. Yeah, let me know how it goes, Pradyumna. Let me know how it goes. Cool. Yeah, I look forward to hearing everyone's feedback. I'd be curious to see what you think. Okay, so I think I found my bug. This is not coming through. What have I spelled wrong? Process.env. Let's see. Oh, or maybe that's wrong. Something is wrong with this. That's why I can't connect to my account. Environment ID, I think that's spelled correctly. Again, I used autocomplete, which is probably not the best thing to do sometimes with AI when you're kind of live streaming, trying to look at the chat, trying to do all this. I think that's okay. And in here, I think that was all right. Did I spell anything wrong in here? Let me see. So let me see. So we've got the Flagsmith provider, and then we've got Flagsmith being passed the instant, and it's the current instant, which I think is correct. And then it's being passed the server state, which is correct. It's the same name as this and so forth. So I think that works out. And then it's the children. I think the provider is okay. I think that's fine. What else have we got? So on here, I'm pretty sure the mistake is on here somewhere. So let's have a look. What have we got? So we have, we call in the provider, the import's down here. That's fine. That's all good. So I think that's okay. Let's have a look. What else have we got? So we create the instance, Oh, have I noticed my mistake? Oh, I noticed my mistake. It's why you should read documentation. I passed this in on the instance, but you don't pass it in on the instance. You passed it in on the initialize. I got too excited and too ahead of myself. So we create the instance like so. And then we need to do an await. So we need to add async to this function. So we'll do an await and we'll say flagsmith. Here we go. There we go. Dot init. And then we'll pass in, I just copied it from what I had before. So here we go. So pass in on the init, the environment ID. And I'll just, to remove this red line here on the await, I would just make this an async function. Here we go. So we get the instance, we initialize it. This looks correct. I think I've typed this in correctly. And then we get the state. So now if I hit save and go back to the terminal, this looks different, right? Let me just clear that and then do it. Now it is working. So if I go back to the app, hit refresh, you can see, right, we've got the API that we're using, and this is going to their cloud. And when we do the automated testing, we will want to change this to a local instance with Docker because we won't want to hammer their cloud. This is our environment ID, and this is the flag. So our first flag, which is tagline, it's got an ID, it's enabled true. We can actually check for that. We can say, is it true? Then show it. But in this case, we always want to show it. And this is the value, and you can see it says dev. So let me bring that up on the screen, and then I want to change it to show you without rebuilding the app. It just works. So let's have a look. Right now, it's a live stream because I made a mistake, so that's good. Let me know in the chat if you noticed it before me. Let me see. Hey Satyam, awesome to have you here. Yeah, it's a prop. No, thank you for asking, and thank you for sharing the answer as well. I think that's so important. When someone asks a question and goes, "Oh, don't worry, I got it," and other people are like, "Oh, I have the same question, but I was too nervous to ask. What was the answer?" So thank you so much for sharing your answer as well, and for the question. I think that's great. It's a great example right there. Okay, so we're looking good. I think we're looking good now. So we have this. Let's get the strapline underneath, then we'll start styling up with a bit of tailwind. So we've got the layout. It's pretty good. So now we're on the page, and we've got this health check. So underneath here, let me just put the strap line. I think it will be good. So there's a couple of ways that you can do this, but I'm going to probably bring the strap line out into a component so we can start getting a bit React-y, as in React.js. So what I'm thinking is, yes. So my thought is, if we, I'm going to sneeze. If we bring a tagline component here, so let me create a new folder under source. And we will call it components. I think we'll call it lowercase components. Here we go. So there's a folder. We need to commit this soon as well. And we need to then jump into the README and document what we've done. So when people want to start the project, they can also set it up as well. I need all of you to test it and make sure that the documentation is good. So we've got components. And then in component, let's do tagline first, and then we'll do an alert as well. So we've got tagline.js. So in tagline, what should we do? So we'll want to, this will be a client. I want to keep page as a server component, and I want tagline to be a client component. So what we can do here is we can then import use flags from Flagsmith. This is how easy it is to use it wherever you want. It's great. Once you kind of got it set up, which is really straightforward, like you saw, you can then do so many things. It's really awesome. So let's create a default function called tagline. And we're not going to pass any props in, so that's fine. But we do want to create a constant, and we'll create tagline, and then we will pull it out from use flags. And then you can pass in which flags to go and get. So we'll just say tagline. There's so many different ways to do this, and I'm sure we'll work together in improving this and tidying up as well. So I'm still learning. We'll learn together. And then let's just return it. So we can just return it as a string, but I want to wrap it up in a bit of tailwind shortly. So let's just do tag, and then we return the value. Remember, we had tagline was an object, so we want to just return the value for now. In other ones, like with the alert message, we can say, is it enabled, and show it. But this one will always be enabled and shown. So I think we've got that. That looks all right, doesn't it? I think. I know I haven't got any styling around it, but we're going to get back to that in a minute. And then here, we can just bring in tagline. And hit save. Let's have a look. So it's at the bottom. Again, we need to sort out styling, so just ignore that, but hopefully you can see it there right at the bottom. Everyone following along? Any questions? So the next thing, again, when we style it, it's going to start looking better. But I wanted to kind of show you the integration part, and then we'll get into that styling and seeing what feature flags we should all add together. You can let me know. So next thing we can do is we can actually go to Flagsmith, and we can go to this one. Remember, it says dev. I'm gonna remove that, and I'm just gonna hit save. And if I go back to the project and hit refresh, it disappears. I didn't redeploy, didn't get rebuilt or anything like that. It's now appears as what we want. So that is so cool. But let's get some styling done. I know you want it to all look pretty, right? So let's go back to taglines. We've got the import here. We're going to leave this how it is. So let's have a look. Let's make this look a bit better. So what can we do to this? So I think we could, let's see, let me think. Try and think on the spot. So let's create a div. Let's give it a class name. We can give it a border, and let's give it a color. Let's see, border gray 200. And you can see the previews here as well. And then let's give it a bit of padding all the way around, or padding at the bottom. We'll see how it looks. So I might need a bit of tweaking. And then this div can close down there. Okay, it looks good. And then we'll need to also wrap this in curly braces. And then we put a div inside, maybe div H3, maybe H3 would make sense. If it's not G3, H3. And then we'll wrap this down there. But on the H3, let's see if we can give it, so text base, if I remember my tailwind, font semi-bold. We'll do leading 6. And let's just make the text gray, but a dark gray, maybe something like 900. And if we hit save, it'll reformat it for me and all that great stuff. Let's go to the page and see how it looks. Oh, where's the page gone? I lost it. Here we go. Okay, it's still at the bottom. Let's maybe remove some of those example ones we had on the page. So maybe in main, let me just remove that for the moment, or justify between. I could probably remove. Let's see how that looks. There you go. It appears at the top. Now we obviously need to make this into a proper heading, but you can see how friendly is your open source project. And we can say something like check below in the form, so people can add their form field. Again, we could just add that form field. They submit it. It goes to GitHub, gets the API information from GitHub's API, and does all those checks. And then all the different checks we could manage in a JSON field, because we had this one over here. So I could say create feature. And then for everybody else, they see these certain checks, but for maintainers, they see a few extra until it's tested and it can be moved across. So we could say something like, we're not going to do this in this live stream. I don't think we've got time. We've already been going for 45 minutes, but I want to kind of show you what I mean and what we're going to get into. So let's have a look. We could say, I don't know, just checks. And then we could, in the description, we could say public repo check. So this is for everybody. And then we could create maybe different checks. Let me see, public repo checks. Yeah, then we could create maybe extra checks. I'm trying to think of the naming, but the idea is in the values, it will be enabled by default. And then here in the different checks that we have, we could actually put JSON, and you can toggle JSON so it highlights it. So we could say here, we would check for topics. So it's the topics check. In our code, we'll obviously have to write what the check is actually doing, but we want to check topics. We probably want to check, is there a description? And then is there a URL as well? And then as we add more checks, we can deploy it, and the maintainers can test it out first, or the ambassadors, however we do it, and so forth. If you get that, I'm going to create that for now. We can obviously change this later as well. So let me just create that so you get an idea. There you go. And you click on it and you can see it as JSON. Awesome. And it does the JSON check, which I think is good, because a minute ago I had a mistake and it was red. So that's good. Okay. I'm going to open up Tailwind UI. Let's just get some pre-built components and what they've got. What have we got in the chat? Have I been missing things in the chat? Hey, Akhil, how you doing? Awesome to have you here. Yeah, definitely less errors with the JSON highlighter and stuff, and YAML and so forth. Select the right one, and it makes it a lot easier. Thanks, Praduma. So I think, well, we probably need a heading on the top, right? So let's have a look. Let's see. You got landing pages, headings. Here we go. We've got some headings. These are page headings, but they're not actual headings of like the app. So let's go back one. Let's see what else can we kind of take from here. Borrow, take. Let's see, page example. I've gone too far, I think. I passed the, where is it? Page examples. I think that's probably going into too much for now. But there is a section, if I remember correctly, where we will need we'll need alerts. Where did we see alerts? I did see alerts somewhere. We'll need that in a moment. Here we go, alerts. We'll come back to that because we want to do a kind of a welcome message alert coming up in a second. So we need to do that. Oh, navigation. That's what we want. Went straight past it. So we could do something like this. We need to. I like these simple ones. I don't know, which ones do you all like? Do let me know and see. While you're all having a think and a look, let me just add a few more things to the README as well. So this is saved. So I should actually push it up. Okay, it doesn't look great, but it's something. But while you're having a look at that, let me just update the README. So here we go. So in the README, I'm going to remove all of that, and I'm going to say Healthcheck. How friendly is your open source repo? Question mark. This project will check to make sure you are using how friendly is your GitHub? Because we're only going to do the GitHub API. Make sure you are using best practices to get more users and stars. Users, contributors, and stars. Users, contributors, and stars. Okay, so some of the features, maybe we can list some of these. They won't all be done today, but we'll do them in the future. So we could tick them off once they're done. So with features, we want to be able to, these are really, really high level features. I think we wanted to check, because there's features we need to build, and then there's features we want to write here. So we want to check how friendly the repo is. We might want to also see if the repo is trending, because I never get notified. Someone always says, "Oh, your repo was trending yesterday." I was like, "Why didn't you tell me? I got to take a screenshot." So there are things like that we could also do. So maybe I'll come back to features. Actually, let me have a think about that, and you have a think too. So we also want to say, probably near the top, is sponsored by Flagsmith, because they're sponsoring this project, which is super awesome. So Flagsmith. So Flagsmith, thank you so much for doing that. So we should put a link to Flagsmith as well. We could put a link to their repo. And then setup. So we want to kind of have a quick start guide, I guess. Quick start guide. And then we will need the different steps. Let me see the chat. What have I missed in the chat? Do you still own the components that you buy? Yes, you do. Good question. Yes, you do, because it is just like pre-built components. You're not getting a component, if that makes sense. So that's a really good question. So if I go back to Tailwind and I just go, I don't know, code, it is just using Tailwind classes to do it. So you're not actually getting an extra dependency or anything like that. You are just kind of having pre-styled components, if that makes sense. So yeah, good question. Right, let me go back to the repo, because our repo is looking a bit, where is our repo? Is it all the way back here? Where did I put it? There it is. It's looking a bit vanilla, so we need to improve that, and then we can actually use it to improve our project as well. So let me see, quick start guide. So first of all, you want to do is clone this GitHub repo, and then number two, I was going to do 111 and let GitHub increment it, but then when we have code blocks and stuff, it breaks that. So maybe let's just number it as it is. So clone this GitHub repo. I'm not going to say git clone, because they might use the IDE or VS Code or something to do it. And then the next thing they want to do is copy .env.example2.env. And then you will need token. What do we call it? What do they call it in this? Where's Flagsmith? Environment key. Okay, environment key. Need an environment key from Flagsmith. this is shown later on. This is shown later on. Okay, so then number 3, what we'll want to do is they need to create a Flagsmith account. I think they've cloned it. We don't want them to start up the project yet. They could run npm CI. So maybe actually, let me do that next. It could be done in different orders. There's no obviously some things have to be done first, like installing dependencies. But in terms of when do you create an account of Flagsmith and so forth? So install the dependencies with npm CI. Okay, so now create an account on Flagsmith. Create a free account on Flagsmith. And I will just get their homepage, I think, because then people can have a look around and navigate and so forth. I should actually say it's an open source project sponsored by the Open Source Project Flagsmith. I mean, you've got to give them credit. They're open source and they're sponsoring. I mean, that's so awesome. Create a free account on Flagsmith. Okay, and then we will, what have I missed in the chat? I saw that notification pop up. Hey, Krish, long time. How you doing? I'm sure Krish has used feature flags before on Flagsmith. Krish has used like every project possible. He knows way more than me. By the way, everyone, don't forget, give the video a thumbs up and go check out my blog post while you're waiting for me to do this. It talks about what we're doing today. Doing a lot more content on Substack, so I'd love to see you there. Okay. And what do you think of the project so far? Let me know, everyone. Let me know what you think of the project. I'll have to take some screenshots of this in a moment too. So create a free account on Flagsmith. Create an organization and project. I can take some screenshots of that, but we could add that later, I think. And then I can take a screenshot of this. And we can say create tagline and create checks with and give them the values. Create the feature flag. You can sign in with GitHub. You can also sign in. Or create an organization, create a project. Maybe I should put some screenshots on that. Will that help people, do you think, more if I put screenshots so they kind of it gives them some examples, maybe some arrows? We could do that quite quickly. Create the feature flags. And then we need to now somehow think of how we're going to list this checks or tagline. We'll just say tagline for now. Create the feature and we'll add more as we need. Should we put it in a table? What do you think? So we'll need create the feature flag tagline. And then I wonder if I do this and take a screenshot. I know obviously I can't have the same name. And when I hit create, it would fail, but I could just show them what it looks like. Help, is your open source project friendly? Question mark. Project, oh, can't spell, tagline. So like I take a screenshot of that. That might be more helpful, I think, rather than trying to explain it. Would you all think? Like that. And then maybe actually an arrow on that button for a previous step as well. Let me know what you think. Documentation's hard, isn't it, everyone? Really, really hard. So I don't want to add those files to the repo. So what I'm going to do is just create an issue and I'm going to add it to there. So what we're going to do is we're going to say documentation and then we'll say setting or quick start guide. And I can drop the images in here. So let me have a look and drop the images in there. So we have got, so first image we will want is going to be, this is the kind of the dashboard feature list. So we can say feature list and we'll show where we create it. Actually, we should put an arrow on that first, I think. What do you think? Let me see if I open it and show you. So this is what it looks like. just again, to make it really easy for people. And this is how I think some projects really succeed and some don't, is because of, so I could do that. Does that look obvious? Create feature, there we go. That's what I'll do for step 1. So now if I drag and drop that up, we can use that in the project. And then the next one is create feature flag. And I don't think we need, let me open it and see what you think. But I don't think we need any arrows on this one because it's kind of, or we could say give it a tagline, give it a value. So we could maybe highlight those. What do you think? So if I could do, I could circle it in red, or I could do something like that. And then just, they need to fill in that one. They need the value. I know the description is optional, but when you get more of them, I think it's more important to see it. And then the last one will be hit the create button, I suppose, like so. What do you think? Was that a good kind of screenshot? Useful? Let me see how the documentation turns out. So I'm going to grab this URL and then I'm going to put it in the README. So let's see. I want to add some screenshots for this, I think. Create the feature flag tagline with these steps. So it should not be step 1. It's going to be indented and it's going to be A. And then it's going to be something like click create feature. You could call it create feature, right? Let me see. Oh, here we go. Create feature. Yeah. Okay, perfect. I'll use the exact same terminology. Click create feature. And then I can put the screenshot in here, which to do a screenshot in Markdown, it's exclamation mark, create feature screenshot, and then the path to that. There we go. And then hopefully this indentation works. We'll check. And then next it's going to be fill in the feature flag form with these details and click. What was the button? What was the button? Did it say create? It's going to open it. Create feature. That was it. And click create feature. Okay. And then with the second screenshot, we're in the issue, which is here. And then I'm just going to assign that to me and then submit issue. So I don't lose those and GitHub keeps them. I don't know if there's any cleanup or anything like that. And again, we will say, not future, screenshot, feature. Save feature flag screenshot. There we go. And I can then push this up in a minute and we can see how it looks. And see what we think. What do you think so far, everyone? Let me see the chat. I know you're really keen to see some styling. We're going to get to that. To hang around for a bit longer, we are going to do some Tailwind and some more styling. And I'm keen to see what people what nav people think we should use. Do we need a search? Probably not, but we want an add button. So maybe that, rather than this be a search, we could be check your repo with a button here. So that could be quite cool. Like not even in the page, like in the heading. It's like, bam, do it straight away. I don't know what you think. People will need to log in, but then new project is pretty good because it will be like check repo. Okay, we won't say new project, but like check repo. And then, but the button we probably want next to the search. I don't know. I'm super interested to see what you think. I'm actually thinking this one here. Let me know what you think while I just commit and push this. So what we've got in these changes, always check your changes. So we've got the environment variable, we've got the package JSON, we added Flagsmith, the README, and then we added Flagsmith to the project. So what I'm going to do is just do a git status. I'm happy with all of those. So I am going to do git add, even though I said in Twitter, don't do git add dot. I'm going to do it. Shh, don't tell anyone, it'll be our secret. But I'm going to do a git status, and I am happy with all those changes. Nothing private, etc. No generated files that I don't want added because I use my global git ignore. And then, well, it's staged, don't need a dot. So we're going to say feature flag Smith integration. So I'm going to commit that and let me push that up. So for those of you who want to actually start using it, can. And we can also see how the README looks. What do you think? Does the README going to look good? Let's have a look. Let's see. How does it look? I think that looks all right. It came out okay. A and B indented. I think it looks good. I still need to do these two ones as well, but I think that looks all right. Oh, we didn't do the npm start at the end. Sorry, npm run dev. So what we'll need is 7. We'll need to do, so you've created the feature flag. You need to add it to the environment variable. Okay, so that's the next thing we need to do. So get your environment, what do they call it? I lost it now. Environment key from Flagsmith and add to env file. And I'll put a screenshot of what it looks like. So who said documentation was easy? Documentation is hard, but it can make or break a project. So I screenshot that. And so what I'm thinking is, you've got to be careful with your client-side environment. Those are really, really important. Okay, so what I'm thinking is if I put an arrow on that one, what do you think? So I'll put an arrow on the left and then, so we'll flip this one around and then put it over here. And then we could then copy it and put it there. Yeah, there. What about that? How does that work? What do you think? And then we could probably add it to the same issue as well, because it should have gone in that one. Here we go. So let me go back to that issue and then just hit edit. And we'll say get environment key. Here we go. Okay, now we're clicking on gas. Now, hopefully people can follow along and start using the project again. This is how we're going to get people using the project, testing out and so forth. So I'm just going to grab that. If I hit update, go back to the beginning here, and let's add this. So here we can do how to get environment key. Okay, so we've got that. And then next we need to do, they've got the key, they've got all that. I think it's all working. They can do npm run the project with npm run dev. I think that's good. I think this is what I need to commit now. What do you think? Let me check the chat and see. Oh, my chat isn't scrolling. Is it gone? Or you're all just loving what I'm talking about. Well, I appreciate you for being here and supporting me. We are going to get into, I think you're more interested in the design, right? Okay, we are going to get into that and how we can actually create some exciting feature flags and stuff like that. So let's have a look. I'll commit that up in the next one to save time. So we've got, let's go back to what we were doing. So we've got a layout and we wanted to see what we're going to choose. So let's have a look. Let's go here. I wonder if, let's do something really simple for now, actually. Let me see, or maybe go to the alert. I know you want to put an alert on so we can manage it. Let me think. I could configure this later. We could do it in Discord together as well. Maybe this one. I don't know if this form field at the top is a good idea or not. Or on the side. I'm not sure. Or maybe just a button. It's a tough one, my friend. Tough one. I would want it to look too much like Kratos. Oh no, it is different to that one. Okay, that's good. I'm going to choose a logo for this as well. I need your help to choose a logo. Ours is not looking so great yet. Maybe something like this, because you could say add project. Or do we just want like a big hero on the page, on the home page? Question is, do we need it on every page or just on the home page? We'll come back to this one. We'll come back. I can't decide. So let's just go to alerts. I think we need a kind of like an alert for people as well when they come to the project. It could be if they're logged in. So again, we can do certain checks if they're logged in, or if they are a maintainer. We can say you're a maintainer. You've got extra features. So don't think that everyone's seeing exactly what you're seeing. They might be seeing something different. So what we can do is we could grab this alert, I think, as well. Let's see. Would we put it as part of, if I go back to the code, would we put it as part of the tagline, the alert? So therefore they're always together, or would we create it as a separate component? Create it as a separate component. So I think we should do a blue one. What do you think? Because it's not a warning, it's not an error, it's not a success to be green. I don't need details on the end though. I'm just gonna grab We can grab this one. I can remove details. So code, I'm actually going to copy that. We'll need to install the icons if we want that as well. Setting, I came to subscribe after seeing a tutorial on Free Code Camp. Well, have a great day and a great birthday. Thanks for coming to join. We've been going for over an hour already. Wow, time goes fast when you're having fun. So you've got components. We should call it welcome message or something like that. File, what can we call it? Welcome, maybe just welcome. So welcome.js. I want to be cheeky and copy and paste it. Oh, no, I need to install that first. Let's do that first. npm install icon set. So once we've installed that, now we can go back to Tailwind and we can copy this. We can go through it if you need to, but I'm actually going to remove, well, details we can leave because maybe it does go to a blog post. Maybe it does go to something else. So let's just save that for now. We need to rename this to welcome, otherwise it won't work. And I think that looks all right. It's got a hard-coded message. We're going to have to change this for Flagsmith like we did before. But for now, let's just check it works. So on the page, we've got tagline. Then underneath, we have got welcome. And we're not going to pass in any props. So let's go back to the page. And you can see we've got this. Okay, it's quite close to the line on top, but it works. So now let's make this. You're going to see how quick and easy it is to make this into like a manageable feature flag with Flagsmith. So awesome. So let's have a look. Right, so now if we go to Flagsmith and we go back to features and we create a new one, we'll say welcome, or it could be welcome message. We'll just say welcome. Welcome message, maybe welcome. No, welcome's fine. And the value could be, let's see, we want to enable it. And we could disable it. Like it's not always going to be there. So we need to do a check on this one as well. But what could it say? Any feedback, let us know. Feedback, let us know. Okay. And this is a welcome message. And in the future, it could be a welcome message for maintainers, welcome message for premium users, welcome message for people with a domain of, I don't know, at github.com or something like that. So let's just create that feature flag. And let's go back to here. And what we can do is, we've got this welcome message. We will turn it into a client component. And then we will do as we did before. And we will I will just copy this line here. I need to type out every time. Copy that, let's import it. So import Flagsmith, React. And what we'll do this time though, because on here, we didn't have any check because it was always going to be there. But this one could potentially be on and off on the welcome message. So what I think we should do, that should be welcome. And in the console log, we still left, sorry, in the terminal, we should have two outputs because we left the console log in. So it should still be there. So we have welcome. But here we'll want to say if welcome enabled, if it's not enabled, basically, then return null. And then in here, we will want, we're going to leave details for the moment. But in here, we're going to want welcome.value and hit save. Didn't mean to select all, but hit save. Save. It's done some reformatting, which is great. So let's have a look. Why don't we see it? Let me see. What do we have? Do we have an error on the terminal? No. So you can see you've got tagline. We've got checks and we've got welcome message. So checks we're not using. This was just an example. As you can see, JSON comes through. And when you use Flagsmith, you say it's JSON and it automatically converts it for you. So you could just use it as a normal JSON object or JavaScript object. Enabled false. So it's not appearing. This is actually correct. It's actually good. This is a good test. I planned it all along. I didn't forget that I didn't enable it. So it's fine. It's good. Is everyone following along in the chat? Let me know. And so it's not that you can't see it. So that's actually good. So the alert that we saw a moment ago is now gone. And if we go to Flagsmith and we enable it and hit update, see, need to enable it and hit refresh. You can see the alert. Any feedback, let us know. So we can control two things here. We can control, is it on or off? And we can control the message. Thank you. If I add thank you to it. and it says updated feature. Go back to here and refresh it. You can see now it says thank you. So it's great. I can actually now pass this on to a different member in the team, and maintainers can change this, and we don't have to do redeployments. So it's super, super awesome. So I really, really love it. So we've got a tagline that stays all the time. We've got a welcome message that is either on or off, and we can change the message, but we can also do so many things. So we can do overrides, and I want to save this for later. See, look, power user. So you've got these different conditions, like match the condition, because you can pass in to Flagsmith identity, so that their email, or is it premium or not premium, or something like that. And if it is a certain value, then override it with this bit of information. So it's so cool. But I'm going to save that for the next, not next live stream, the next live stream. So we will see. We've got quite a few live streams planned already, and more coming up. So I think that's pretty good. What else do we want to do? Let me see. I think that's looking pretty good so far for an hour and 15 minutes. It's not bad. What do you think? So I had a list of notes of things I wanted to do. So we wanted to set up the project. We did that. We had the repo. We said it's sponsored by Flagsmith. Must remember to do that. Thank you, Flagsmith. We put about documentation. I think I can improve the documentation a bit more. We've created our Flagsmith account while I logged into it. And we've got the tagline managed by Flagsmith, which is good. And we've got alert message managed by Flagsmith as well. So I think that's pretty good for a day's work. So should I commit that? So what have we got that's not committed yet? Lock file and package, because we added the icons, which I think is important to use because Tailwind uses that a lot. We've got the extra steps in the README about how to get your key, which I think is very important. And we added the welcome component to the homepage, and then we created the welcome component as well. And then again, the details doesn't go anywhere. The details button at the right doesn't go anywhere. If I bring this up here, this doesn't go anywhere yet, but we can add to that later on, and we've got to sort out the design. So let me commit that so you all can have the latest version as well. So if I do a commit, so what have we got? And you can see welcome has come in, and it's now on multiple lines because this is a bit longer. It was definitely a lot shorter up above, so you can see here. Okay, so we got git add. So we want to add what's in the source directory. Let's have a look. Status, and we can do git commit, and we can say this was a feature, and now you have got a welcome message. I should say Flagsmith welcome message. Yeah, Flagsmith welcome message. Let's have a look. I think that's good. And I can push that up to the project. So now we're all set up. We've got an NextJS project. We've got Flagsmith integrated. We have got Tailwind there. The next step will be, I'll probably do this tomorrow. So any of you are around, let me know. We want to integrate with GitHub. So we need to be able to log in with GitHub so we don't get rate limited by their API. We need to grab the repo from the form that we'll give to the user, and then we'll get the JSON, and then we can start doing these functions, which will check for certain things. And the great thing is, if these are going to be separate files for each check, then one person can go, I'm going to look at description, make sure it's not too short, not too long, make sure it's using maybe inclusive language. They could go off to an AI endpoint and do some checks. Someone else might do topics. Someone else can do, check for the wiki, or check for project board, or there's so many other checks that we want to do, and that we do on the live stream when I review your projects. So I think that's going to be super, super awesome. We can always then do it for profiles, for GitHub profiles as well. I think this project's going to be great to get other people's projects to stand out. So that's going to be awesome. Let me know what you think in the chat. I have had so much fun today geeking out. Let me share the repo again for anyone who does want to start. We're at 7 already. That's awesome. Thank you so much. If anyone does want to start the repo and follow along, I'm going to be working on this in the next 3 months. And you can see we've got to add a GitHub action to create the releases, to do the linting, because we've already got a lint command. If I do npm run lint, how does it look? Does it break? Does it fail? Oh, no warnings. That's good. But it'd be good to know on a GitHub action if that works. We've got so many things to do in this project, and with your help, we are going to make this into a real world project. Best practices, automated testing, running things locally in containers, and Puduma and others. I'll need your help for those as well. But I think it's going to be super, super fun. So we did an hour and 20 minutes. What do you think? Did you follow along? Was it good? Give the video a thumbs up. Do let me know. And don't forget, I do have, I think, a couple of comments up. I do have a blog on this. If you did miss this, you can rewatch it. It'll be on my YouTube channel. I think YouTube takes a bit of time to render it, so it might not be around tomorrow if you lose a link, but eventually it will reappear on my YouTube channel. And there is a blog post if you prefer to read and follow along. This has been great, everyone. Thank you so much. Let's geek out more. And yeah, try feature flags in your project and let me know. So it's great that Bjorn's gonna give it a go. They've got an open source project. Give their project a star as well. I can also share it in the chat if that's helpful to people as well. Let me know. Yes, I think it's going to be good fun. That's an interesting another thing to check. Again, just looking at the Flagsmith repo, it's got the same link here as it does here. That's another check we could do in our project, in the Healthcheck project. Check if the description contains the same URL as the URL just below it, because then we can say, well, you could optimize this. You don't need that. So there's so many little checks we can do, and we can do it in functions, and we can control it with Flagsmith feature flags to see who gets those features. So many ideas coming out right now. I can't wait. This is going to be great. So yes, thank you everyone. Do check it out and let me know your thoughts. What can we do to make our project better and easier? And what can you do for your project? Everyone, have a great rest of your Sunday. I really appreciate you coming to geek out with me on Sunday. And I will see you in the EddieHub community. Bye, everyone.